Hey everyone, I am the Professor Z, coming out of the lab today to review not just one, but two chapters of Made in Abyss. Yes, today, due to the length of what I'm going to be calling the sub-chapters, I've decided to take both sub-chapter 42.1 and 42.2 and make them into one video. Before we get into things though, I want to take a moment to thank you all for the overwhelming support on the channel. It's been awesome to see people enjoying the content, and it keeps me motivated not just to keep making more content, but to expand what I'm capable of doing. I hope you'll all continue to enjoy my videos and look forward to newer and better things going forward. But of course, without further ado, it's time for the review of subchapters 42.1 and 42.2, titled Mio and Jiruo. So, right off the bat, this chapter is a tad different than usual, because instead of focusing on Team Riko in the Abyss, we take a step back and look at events taking place on the surface. And it is here where we find Nat and Shiggy conversing while on their break. Nat and Shiggy are discussing recent discoveries at the Burial Tower, and a quick recap since it's been a while, but the Burial Tower is a structure within the first layer, where hundreds of skeletons have been uncovered, all thought to be about 2,000 years old. These skeletons, due to their posture, are known as praying skeletons, and can be found in many places throughout the first layer. However, Shiggy tells us that recently, delvers have uncovered yet another rune underneath the first, with praying skeletons from over 4,000 years ago. Even stranger still though, there is yet another layer underneath that, with more praying skeletons from over 6,000 years ago. Nat and Shiggy laugh it off as some sort of fad or coincidence that just so happened to occur every 2,000 years or so. Nat even treating it as some sort of joke since the 2,000 year period is just around the corner. 2,000 years, where have I heard that before? Oh yeah. So yeah, rather this just so happens to be one big coincidence, or Bonedred knows that something is coming in the very near future. I could keep going on this, but I think this topic is best saved for another video, or we may end up being here a little too long. Laffy then interrupts the two boys, asking why the two of them weren't working. Nat explains that the woman that they were escorting is eating, so they too were taking a break. Laffy then asks about Kiyoi's condition. Apparently, between Riko and Reg's descent into the Abyss and present day, Kiyoi's simple fatigue has evolved into a nigh-on incurable illness. Not a single doctor has even been able to identify what's wrong, and things only seem to be getting worse. Laffy brings up the rumor of the birthday death disease, which is becoming less fiction and more fact as more and more people begin to die, all of which died on their birthdays. And look at that, it just so happens to be Kiyoi's birthday. Enter Mio, a pharmacist from abroad who traveled to the Abyss with a medical caravan, in hopes of expanding her medical knowledge. After hearing of Kiyoi's condition, Mio offers to examine him in hopes of finding a cure. Ironically, Mio is the one Nat and Shiggy were guiding, so they just lead her to the orphanage. Upon arriving at the orphanage, Nat's group is met by Leader, who takes them to where Kiyoi is resting, explaining along the way how Kiyoi's condition has only continued to worsen to the point where every doctor who's examined him has thrown in the towel. The group soon reaches Kiyoi's room, where Mio begins her examination. It's strange because besides a high fever, there doesn't seem to be much wrong with Kiyoi. So, in hopes of examining Kiyoi further, Leader and Mio take Kiyoi to the medical ship Mio is a part of. During their trip to the caravan, Mio and Leader pass an ongoing funeral, the deceased apparently having died from the same condition Kiyoi is currently suffering from. Leader then discusses the birthday death disease rumors, which only increases Mio's excitement for learning about a new disease. Okay Mio, it's good to be motivated, but try to remember that people's lives are on the line here. Well, Leader goes on to talk about how Kiyoi isn't even the first orphan to pass away from this mysterious illness. Apparently 5 other orphans have passed, all of which had unclear birth dates. So while it can't be completely blamed on the birthday death disease, it's a tad too convenient for it not to be. Well, the group arrives at the medical ship. And quick side note, I applaud the unique design of the ship. Could have easily made it a generic boat, but just like a lot of things in Made in Abyss, even this boat has a design that makes it extremely unique to this story. So, since Mio will be handling the medical proceedings, I wonder what kind of interesting methods she'll be employing. Well, none apparently, because once upon the ship, Kiwi miraculously recovers.
I am no longer dead!
Yeah, despite being on death's door mere moments ago, Kiwi fully recovers mere moments after arriving on the boat. Mio is at a loss until she lands on the possibility of Kiwi being cursed. Wait, a curse, huh? One that makes you deathly ill. One closely tied to the story of Made in Abyss. Nope, never heard of it. In all seriousness though, I'm unsure what to say about this. Yet another topic for another video, I suppose, but I'll give some basic thoughts. So it's clear that the birthday death disease is somehow tied to the Abyss. It's possible that the curse is arising from the Abyss, or maybe it's some form of airborne illness caused by the Abyss. But until we learn more, we'll have to wait and see. Now, from the town of Orth to the second layer, we follow Leader as he arrives at the observation base. Greeted by Maruk, Leader has come all this way in order to speak with the immovable lord Ozen. We get this quick but nevertheless funny moment between Leader and Maruk as Leader realizes who Maruk is and how they are cross-dressing. And yes, for those of you who didn't already know, Maruk is biologically male, but dresses in feminine clothes. But before this topic can progress any further, in enters Ozen with that wonderful smile on her face. After a brief greeting, Ozen, Leader, and Maruk head to a room within the base to talk. Of course, what Leader came to discuss is the existence / possible cause for the birthday death disease. It doesn't seem like Ozen knows any more about the disease than anyone else. She does, however, give a possible explanation as to why the praying skeletons are posed the way they are. When an inexplainable problem occurs, many people tend to turn to religious beliefs for salvation. And since the Abyss itself is treated as a being of worship, people will pray to it. But if the cause of the problem is the Abyss itself, then that would explain the deaths in the praying position. Ozen states that even if people were to learn that the Abyss was causing their deaths, many would stay anyway, because leaving a way of life and entering a completely different one could be even worse than death at times. Moving away from the depressing topics for a moment, we get to see the contents of Leader's backpack from earlier. Within it are numerous jars with varying items, each ranging from pickled tongues to insect abdomens. Ugh. Okay. So yeah, apparently Ozen enjoys things that taste odd. For some reason that doesn't surprise me. So Leader brought a variety of things from the ship caravan in order to put Ozen in a good mood. Ozen suddenly changes the topic, however, and begins to talk about Reg. Both Ozen and Leader talk about how the way Reg carries himself is extremely similar to how Liza did. Leader even talks about Reg's memory loss and how Reg most likely knew Liza before his, shocking loss. It's quick, but Leader's statement here would imply that he both knew about Reg's origins, which we kinda already knew, but he also knew that Reg was missing his memories as well. I understand Leader didn't say anything to Reg about his connection to Liza to protect his cover as an orphan, but come on, Leader, you withheld this from Reg knowing full well he was suffering from amnesia? It may not have done anything to restore Reg's memories, but it would have been better than nothing, come on! Well, anyway, Ozen senses that Leader has more he wishes to discuss, so she agrees to speak with him, if he'll join her. What that means is unclear, but most likely they'll just go out exploring. But knowing Ozen, it could be something completely different. So, these next 2 pages are a little odd. For one, most of the panels don't really have anything to show, just the odd text box here and there. But what is shown here is worth talking about, so I'll do what I can. We start with two people conversing, however we are only given the name of one of them, that being Shirumi. The speaker, who goes unnamed, continues, telling Shirumi that they wish to return to a museum that they had once gone to. There is no response though. We then get a glimpse of the two people conversing. Neither of them are any characters that have been previously featured in this story, at least as far as I'm aware. The person on the left stands out due to the number of insects swarming around their body. The speaker continues, however, and goes on to talk about Ozen, apparently having met them so long ago that they'd lost track of how long ago it had been. The speaker mentioned that Shirumi and themselves are indeed twins, yet despite being siblings, the two of them are incapable of doing things together. After this, the conversation just fades to black. We are then brought back to the end of chapter 42, with Riko staring upward as thousands of petals and name tags fall into the abyss. Yet of all these tags, one stands out among them all, that being the one by Riko's foot, with the name Shirumi written on it. It seems that Shirumi had passed away. What significance does this have? I have no idea, but maybe we'll find out at some point in the future, because this is where this chapter comes to an end. Whew. Wow, despite both these subchapters being on the shorter side, they made this video a lot longer than I had anticipated. But for good reason. It's been a while since we've seen what's going on up above, so there was quite a bit to talk about. The birthday death disease is quite the mystery, with so many uncertainties about what's causing it and how it ties into this 2,000-year rotation. Though we may still have lots to explore within the abyss, it's cool to see that the surface still has plenty of stories to tell. So that's all for this video. I want to thank you all again for your continued support. It means more to me than you could ever know. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're here for all future content, and leave a comment about what you thought about these subchapters down below. Well, that's all for me now. This has been the Professor Z, and I will see you all next time.